real estate
affects the market as a whole, which then sometimes will affect the 10.
Right. It'll come in.
to real life.
We all learn in different ways. If you think about it, Wayne Dyer might not attract everybody.
And everything in between.
Mission was really to help people just to reach their full potential.
The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right. Man, I'm excited about this show, I have to say. I know I say that a lot, but this is a guy that I was in a class, or whatever you want to call it. In KW or in Keller Williams, we call it bold. It's a class that you take in order to be bold about your business and to take your business to the next level. And at the time, this is 7 years ago, this guy here was working at KW, at Keller Williams. And he always stuck in my mind. We've stayed in touch. He has now moved on to a different company. He's now with EXP, and he's doing great things. He just wrote a book. And when I saw he wrote a book, I said, you know what? You got to get on the show here. I would love to talk about your book, talk about what you're doing, because he made a big impression on me when we took this class called Bold. And he was just a great coach for that class. And I'm just going to bring him all right now. Matlewczenko, man, how you doing?
I'm so good. This is so exciting for me. I've been really waiting for this. I've been like, man, when's Brad going to ask me on the show? Like full circle.
That's hilarious, man. Well, what's funny is I only charge them $50 to say that, Hugo.
Wait.
We normally charge $100 for that.
That's right.
Hold on. I already said Hugo a much different number. This is a total switch.
Oh my God, it's so different. So yeah, so your title, author, performance coach, keynote speaker, regional growth director at EXP. I mean, you're and the author thing, that's recent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that just happened.
Yeah, just this past February. It's again almost 7 years in the making as well.
Really that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
That seed was planted. So like I was taking bold while I was also learning to be a bold coach. Like I was always in bold as a student, and it was during step 3 whenever you do it's the goal setting and then the walk with your future self, etc.
Yeah.
There was a moment where I was talking to my future self, and he said, "Tell the story."
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, "Cool. What story?" Because everybody that I've ever like talked to in like either the speaking space or like the influencers and the authors that I watch and I listen to that resonate with me, like they all have like this hard story, like foster family, drugs, like all of these horrible things. And I was like,
I don't have that.
Like my life has been so mid and like pretty like average and like kind of privileged, and like, what story do I have? And so like, it was always in the back of my mind. And then just this past year was like, I always share, like, be careful what you put out into the universe, because God's listening, and like, be ready.
Yeah.
Like,
so true.
Right. And
it's so true. It is funny though, what you say about that with the whole, like, you know, you do read some of these books and you're like, yeah, man, this person's really had it bad, you know, and you know, and you feel bad for them at the time. And then they come through with these just amazing stories and you know, it's pretty amazing. But I'm reading some of the notes on your book that were on Amazon, and some of the stuff, as soon as I started reading it, I'm like, oh my gosh, Matt went through something with this. Yeah. Matt, he's had, and it says for your book, it's called The Entrepreneur's Regret, which right away you're sitting there going, okay, that hits home. I get it. You know, there's obviously no matter what, when you succeed, it's not like we all get to a place of success or a place or a goal and we go, I have no regrets at all. No, there's people, sometimes you're hurt along the way, or there's things that you don't do that maybe you weren't so proud of. And those things are real. I think a lot of times that doesn't get told.
Yeah.
And it seems like everyone's
posting highlight reel.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Right. Yeah. So true. So true. So it says this is the part, and then I want you to talk about your book. This is the book your family wants you to read. Awesome thing to say. And then it says your business can grow, your family relationships can too. I love that. So tell me a little bit more about the book.
So I've been a coach, and I've worked with like high performing entrepreneurs, business owners, team leaders, brokerage owners for the last 13 years. And I was always really good at helping others see the greatness that I saw in them, and helping people put together, you know, systems and tactics and strategies to continue to level up in life. And one of the things that I kept also noticing was there was also a high cost in that. And I started seeing firsthand in the entrepreneurial space, I think there's a study that shows that we're 46% more likely to get divorced than any other profession out there.
Wow.
In the entrepreneurial space. And so there's this fallacy that I talk about in the book, and it stems from this, and I was guilty of this, and I've been privy to a lot of seeing this as well, is that the very people that we say we're doing this for are the first ones that we sacrifice along the way on each level.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is that one of the coaches that I share with me is they're like, life, when you juggle, has rubber balls and glass balls, and you just got to be really privy of the ones that are glass and are rubber. The rubber ones you can drop, but the glass ones you can't.
Yeah.
And so often when as we're building and we're growing and we're creating this world that we think we desire, oftentimes we forget or we get overwhelmed, and sometimes those glass balls drop. And we get a lot of grace from the people that we care about the most until we don't, and until it's too late. And oftentimes it can be too late, or we take it for granted for too long, and it can be irreparable. So for a while, I was just kind of noticing this, and I never really understood, up to this point, I'm still going back, 4 or 5, 6 years, until about 3 years ago, when I was Alex Hormozi. I don't know if the listeners or followers listen to Alex Hormozi, and if you don't, Alex and Layla put out some of the best content for business ownership and entrepreneurship out there. Get in there, dive deep, and listen. One of the things that he shares was something that I never heard articulated this way. And he said that everyone understands what rock bottom is, but so many people are suffering from rock top and they don't know it.
Oh man.
And I was like, I don't do people swear on your podcast? I'm going to try not.
Yeah, you can swear. Just the F-bomb, probably not so much, but you can say shit, hell, damn, whatever.
I was like, oh shit. Right. So cause here's the thing. I just got so COVID. So I was literally living my dream as a bold coach. It was by far, without a doubt, exactly where I was supposed to be. I really felt like I was making an impact and living my purpose. And then COVID pulled us off the road. I went from making over $400,000 a year to zero.
Isn't that crazy?
Right. And then, so they did the best they could and try to pivot and go digital, et cetera. But then
didn't work that well.
Yeah. The reason why I have great lighting and a microphone is because at Bold, they forced us all to we were going to go like this. We were going to start doing this. And then, but that didn't pan out. And it couldn't provide the life that we needed at the moment. So I went back into leadership. And I just remember at that moment going, if I'm going to do it, I need to see what the next path is. I really wasn't wanting to go back into leadership. And yet I knew it. I was familiar with it. I was good with it. And then that year I put my head down, I put the pedal to the metal. And that year I had hired over 176 agents. I grew our office from 370 to 460, net 73, number one recruiter in the region, number 18 out of 832 offices nationwide. I got to be on stage with Mark King at Family Reunion Mega Camp. And every night when I came home, I couldn't look myself in the mirror.
Oh, wow.
I was going way too deep into a beverage just to even get to neutral, to where I could even deal with myself.
Wow.
My relationships at home were starting to fall apart. My family didn't want to be around me. My kids were they didn't care if I was home or not. And from outside looking in and on paper, I was winning in every single category.
Wow.
And I was losing everything.
That's amazing. Yeah. And that's not uncommon.
No. But the thing is, so I just remember coming off stage from Family Reunion after achieving this milestone that I thought was going to be that was the thing. And I just remember walking down the hallway, and all I could hear is my own footsteps. And then the stage was continuing, the show was going on. And I just remember going, I am absolutely alone in this. And so when we talk about being at rock top, it's when you go climbing that mountain, and when you finally break through that cloud layer, which you think on the other side of that's going to be this amazing life that you pictured and desired. What I discovered, it was I'm alone.
Yeah. And
the air is thin. And then what happened is I could see all these other mountains, and it seemed like everybody else was having a lot more fun than I was.
Interesting.
The challenge is there's only one way off the mountain.
That's down.
Back down through the mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was really clear. I mean, there was a moment where, my wife and I, we were sitting on the front porch, and it was one of those moments, right, where she's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I
And
said,
along the way, were there signs, like, was there anything? I mean, you guys are together, everything's good.
sure.
But was there other moments where you're sitting there going, you know what? I wonder if this bothers her. Are the
Oh
kids
yeah, yeah,
bothered?
yeah. No,
I mean, it's not like it just happened one day. This had to be some stuff happening over
look,
time.
everything in life is like a hockey stick. It's
Yeah.
gradual then sudden. It's gradual
Yep.
then sudden. It's nobody goes bankrupt from one decision. It's
Right.
gradual and then sudden. And
Yep.
then relationships break gradually and then suddenly. And then it seems
Mhm.
like out of nowhere. Right. And so this was just it was just finally just a culmination. And I was just really, really struggling. And then she just said, this was for me one of the biggest moments. And what saved me was the fact that at my lowest, she came and was the strongest I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
she looked me dead in the eye and she goes, "You don't get to do this.
Mm.
Fix it."
Wow. That's
And
pretty.
like just dead in the eye, she goes, "Fix your shit. Fix
Wow.
it." And then I was like, "All right." And then I just go, "Okay, I'm going to go back into the wood shop. I'm going to go into the tool shed. I'm going to get, we were already in individual therapy, couples therapy. Like I'm all about coaching, and you can call
Yeah.
like everyone gets weird about therapy, but I'm like, it's just our coach. It's my coach. It's my family
Absolutely.
coach, right? It's just coaching, right?
Yeah.
We pay for coaching all the time, but
It's
everyone
something
gets
to
weird
see
about
something you don't.
correct.
Yeah.
And so I just remember going, okay, I'm all in and we're going to fix it. However, I'm going to document this process. And I'm not going to let this suffering go without helping somebody else.
Oh, wow.
Because my story is going to be somebody else's survival guide. There's a family out there that doesn't have to experience what I just experienced. There's some kids, there's a wife and a husband that don't have to do this. And that was the goal. And so for me, the goal of the story was simply that. Like, I'm done. I can help you increase your net worth. I can help you increase your net revenue and your gross income. But for me, that's no longer the case. I'm here to save families.
Wow, that's cool. Very cool. It's awesome, man. It's really cool. And there's so many people going through that. I mean, I think I lost my first real serious relationship from being a workaholic. Hey guys, I want to take a second and thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They have 24/7 emergency service and a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. If you need help with your heating and air conditioning or indoor air quality, call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. Mention the show and receive a free humidifier with the installation of a complete system. And I think, we throw that term around and we laugh, I'm a workaholic, but, I think sometimes we think as entrepreneurs and workaholics that everybody in downline from us, family, kids, that all they care about is the money and, or being able to do the things that you're providing for. And it's not always the case. I mean, a lot of times it's not the case. I think another thing that we tend to do as entrepreneurs, a lot of things in life are about building expectations for what we're going to go through. And I know when Susan and I did, and I learned that from losing a relationship before with my wife now and kids, is that when we went to do the Coldwell Banker to Keller Williams franchise and we bought the franchise, I sat down and said to my wife at the time, and my wife is now my same wife, not at the time, but it was at that time. My wife's going to be like, wait, did we break up? Oh my God. So, but at that time, I said to her, I said, I built an expectation. I'm going to be working till midnight again. Just so you know, I mean, I'm going to be in the office till midnight. It's going to be probably 7 days a week until we get this company, working and going and whatever. And are you okay with that? And I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we don't set that expectation. Right. We just expect them to go along with the ride because it's just what we want to do, So it's interesting, and there's a lot of things with being an entrepreneur that we kind of just railroad through things.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So with that being said, what the key premise inside all of that. So there's 3 frameworks that I talk about through the book, and it's the 3 L's, and it goes around leadership, love, and life. And so leadership is around how you show up in your work world, right? And then the love is your personal relationships. And then life is your physical and your mental health.
Yeah.
And inside all of that is about the power of being present.
Mm.
It's about being all in. And when you're all in each of these areas, you earn the right to be in the other. Otherwise, there's guilt. So the
Mhm.
thing is that like, just because you're at the office for 10 hours, the question is, how productive were you? Were you on task? Did you stay loyal to your calendar? Or were you just busy? Did you play around and realtor your face off all day? But did you, and did you not move the needle? Because what happens is just because you're gone all day, when you come home, if you didn't do the activities to fill the pipeline and you don't have enough at bats or appointments set, when you're home, guess what? The phone's on and it's facing up. And when you're at dinner, and when it rings, you got to answer. Why? Because you didn't do what you were supposed to do when you said you would.
Yeah.
So now you've got, I don't know if you're like me or not. My kids right now are 12 and 15.
Yeah, we got 10 and 13.
So I did an audit. I get up at 5:30. They get up 15 minutes before they got to go to school. I see them for 10 minutes before, and then they come home. At 3:30 to 5, they're deregulating from their day over where they're at. We make it a real priority to have dinner together. That's 35 or 40 minutes total. And then after that, they don't really want to be around us. So I really, for like legit, like they're just like, that. Like,
do you have a camera in our kitchen? Do you have a camera in our house?
Do we have to hang out? No. And so the thing is like, I have about 45 minutes a day to make an impact and make a difference and let them feel loved, let them feel heard, let them be seen, like, and really engage with them. And if I can't do that, man, you're failing at everything.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that. And so I'm all in at work to earn the right to be all in at home. And then when I'm all in at home and I'm really purposeful with my kids, really purposeful with my wife, I've earned also the right to be very purposeful with my physical and my mental health. I've got my activities and my gym, and I've got I play a lot of disc golf with those guys. And so that's my physical and my mental health space. The thing is that self-love is selfish when you're not all in your other areas. And it shouldn't ever have to be that way. And so it's about presence, being all in over presence. Because there's a lot of people that are there, but they're not there. They're disconnected. They're scrolling. They're in their phone. They have an earpiece in and somebody says something. You're like, what? Huh? What? And I'm guilty of it. I'm not perfect. That's why I had to write the book. Like I had to write the book really as a manual for me. And yet that's the thing, right? So my mission is I work with entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial parents to get their nights and weekends back through ruthless prioritization and systems so they can actually be present instead of having to buy presents to show their kids and family that they still love them.
Yeah. And a lot of it, do you think a lot of it's just being aware of it? You know, if you're aware of your time too, and aware, I think a lot of times people are not even aware of how they show up. We talk about
awareness is the first step, right? Like being aware that you have a problem is the first step. And then also like you have to get pissed off enough that the status quo is no longer good enough.
Yeah.
Like you have to make there needs to be an identity shift around, okay, I can't, like, just because this is what I'm used to and this is what I've developed and this is kind of the routine that we're in, it's not working. Yeah. So it's going to be manual for a minute. It's going to feel a little disingenuous or a little bit rehearsed until it isn't, right? And so the frameworks that I talk about in the book around, leadership and love and life, at first are, laborious and kind of, until they're not. But like, the thing is this, is like, you can be genuinely purposeful.
Yeah.
Right. So I think awareness is huge, and awareness is the first step to change, but then you got to make a choice to make some changes. Right.
Do you find that you still balance these things?
Oh, it's a nonstop counterbalance. It's like, there is no balance. I have to, I'm constantly, I have little alarms to ask myself, are you all in?
Yeah.
right?
in each phase, in each L.
Everywhere I'm at, I've got to have constant reminders of like, how present are you?
Right.
Right. And
Got it.
so I created the field guide that goes along with the book, and it's a daily journal that has an action, a reflection, and a task every single day that goes along with the book. It's a 12-week guide to help start conditioning on starting the day with purposeful intention, reassessing how the day went, and then with like a task or an action. Here's something that you should do, like schedule some unscheduled time with somebody that you love, and don't let them know until it's time, right? Like just like some cool little tasks to get you like into a new mindset of proactive and purposeful action about how to be more present.
Right. Do you think some people look at that and go, this is more mechanical, it seems forced?
I'm sure they will. I mean, I did,
Yeah.
but okay. So my daughter suffers from like ADHD and anxiety. And before we were able to really help regulate her, she would go into these emotional spirals and go in and get like just negativity and all this. And then so like as a coach, as a mindset guy, I'm always like, all right, we got to jump in. We got to do like, look, change the way you look at things.
We got to fix this. We got to fix it.
Complaining is garbage magnet, like all the things. And then, and so I would be sitting in there with her coach, and she would say, okay, like, so when your daughter gets into these things, like, Dad, how do you do it? I was like, I'm going to tell you, like, it's a real challenge for me. And she goes, why? And I was like, cause I'm a coach. I'm a mindset guy. Like, I don't like sitting and living in the negativity. And she's like, how's that working? And
that's pretty funny.
So coach, how's it work? Are you ready to call a new play? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, okay, so maybe you can take a second and sit with her when she's feeling the most vulnerable and let her know that it's okay to feel the way that she's feeling. And when she's ready to come out of the hole, now you pick her up.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I'm like, okay, that goes against every instinct I have. So for me, I have to go completely opposite in the way that I'm wired in order to be there for my daughter the way that she needs.
Yeah. Well, you said the way you're wired.
Correct.
The way you're wired.
Yeah.
I mean, so at that moment, it's not about how you're wired because she's wired differently, right?
Correct. This whole thing, here's the thing. If you only care about you, then there is no regret.
So true. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. If this book is resonating with you, then it is about others.
Yeah,
and so when it's about others, you got to come out of yourself. And so it's going to be unnatural for some. And so I share some hacks, like how to leverage ChatGPT to help, and like some other stories around it. And, you know, especially on the relationship side, because for me, like, I'm a high driver, I'm a builder, I'm a quick start. Like I'm out there messing things up. Like I'm taking risks. I love getting after it.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to slow down.
Yeah.
And so my life became symptomatic of my inability to slow down. And so I was pushing the people away that really needed their dad and not a coach.
What out of those three things, the three L's, which one's the most challenging for you?
The relationships.
Yeah.
The love. And so I had to create a framework, and it's called, for me in our world, love is spelled time, T.I.M.E. And the T stands for take a second and disconnect. And so like there was a moment that when I came, I was on a deal was falling apart, and I was coming through the door in the garage, and I was just trying to keep it together. It was that commission was like really mattered for that month, and like everything was on the line. And I'm freaking out. I had the cold sweat. And I remember coming through the door. My daughter was only about 5 years old. And she's running up like with this paper in her hand, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And I just was like, I can't stop. And I look at my wife, I was like, please will you take care of this? And I go into the other room and I get it settled down, et cetera. I come over and I come back and I think like, hey, nothing happened. Nothing's going on. And my daughter's gone. And my wife just comes to me. She goes, you just crushed her. She waited all day. She got like an award at daycare, and she was so excited to tell you And she was waiting all day. When's daddy coming? When's daddy coming? When's daddy coming? And the garage door opened and she heard, and she was ready to share with you this thing because she knew you'd be so proud because she won.
Are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136.
You messed up. And I was like, oh. And so I have there's a hard and fast rule. I never come through the door on the phone.
Yeah, that's good.
So I got to take a second and disconnect. Working from home, it's a bigger challenge, right?
Yeah.
So
I've learned that too. It's funny. You know what I do? I stay in the car and I finish the conversation in the car.
I would go right.
And they'll laugh at me because they'll be like, Dad, you've been home for like 5 minutes. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm still on a call. I'd rather deal with it right there in the car on the way home. And then that way, when I come in the door, like you said, then I'm not on the phone. I'm present at that moment. I mean, it's just something I didn't do it purposely. It just kind of happens that way. Like it's kind of like
I had to do it purposefully. Yeah. Because I was leaving scorched earth.
Yeah. Oh, I've done that too. Believe me, I've done that many times. Yeah. It's fun, and then you do it and we don't even think anything right at that moment. And like you said, then you come back and you realize what effect that you've had on somebody you really, really care about, you love.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Tough. That's a core memory for her. Luckily, I share the story. She's heard the story. She goes, I don't even remember that. I'm like, okay, good.
Thank goodness.
Good. I do.
Yeah, right. We don't need more therapy. Thank goodness. We're okay. Just from that one. So I'm just going to look at some of my notes here. So anything else about the book that really stands out? And I love how you say it's the book your family wants you to read. I mean, that's such a great, I don't think I've ever heard of something like that about a book, that your family, a lot of times entrepreneurs, I think we don't think we have these issues. We don't think we have these things going on because we're so focused on just going forward that we don't look here and we don't look behind us. Because in business, they tell us not to do that.
Right.
But we have roadkill back there.
So that again, I balance, but so there's like this hustle culture that's out there that's real prevalent. You've got like your Gary V's, and there's like there's even some coaches that are like, I'm up at 3 and I do the things and I don't go to sleep until 1 and I only sleep for 90 minutes a day. And I'm like,
no thanks.
No, like here's the thing. You can have it all without risking it all. You can absolutely fund the life of your dreams and then still have the people in it that you care the most about and look freaking good and then be an emotionally regulated human being, right? Like you don't have to be an absolute asshole just because your profile says I'm a high D. Like that's garbage.
Yeah.
Like that's a super low EQ move. Like it's just, it's garbage. And you're a bully. Right. So there's people that they've just kind of normalized the aggressiveness of what it takes sometimes to be successful, but it doesn't take aggressiveness. It takes assertiveness and discipline and consistency and just a willingness to just continue to move forward and look for more people to serve and not more people to close or to hammer. Right. So there's just there has to be a mindset shift around it. And the thing is like, sure, some people have to hustle for 12 hours because they really only ever put in 3 hours worth of effort in those 12 hours because they're not being all in.
Yeah, totally true.
Like, because think about how productive you are right before vacation.
Oh yeah, we talk about that all the time. It's because you have to be. You have to be, and you know that you need to get a certain amount of things done in a certain amount of time in order for me, especially for me, to be able to actually let go and actually relax on vacation, So totally.
So if you can do it for one day, you can string it together. You can do it every day if you choose. So like if every day, so think about it. Like how important is your family? How important is your own personal time? You should treat it as you do vacation, and you should be so all in on your work to give you the freedom to disconnect at home as well as you do on the beach.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree 100%. So I loved to hear you said your favorite quote was from Henry Ford. And it said, whether you think, I love this quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
You're right.
I mean, that is a great quote. I've heard it before. Why is that your favorite? Just because, I mean, it's so clear.
Well, so for me, it was one of the biggest shifts was that like I have total ownership and control of my life, right? And like the graveyards are full of people that still have unspent dreams, right? Like there's all these goals that are just buried there, right? Like what somebody said is like the richest land on earth. Like there's millions and billions of dollars worth of untapped dreams in the graveyard, and so I've always just believed. I've just simply believed. Okay, like why not me? Why not do it? Right? Like, and if for anyone who knows me, like knows that I still also deal with a lot of imposter syndrome and judgment as well. And so even just writing this book, my goal was to have. I started the book a year and a half ago, and my goal was to have it out in 6 months, and it took me a year and a half.
Yeah,
not because the process took a year and a half. Like I was self-sabotaging myself to even release it. Because there's a really amazing, like this funny thing that you discover, like when writing the book is like, oh, now everyone's going to read it and like, they're going to get to form their own thoughts around it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I trust this makes sense. And maybe like, I hope it helps.
Well, yeah, because you're sitting there going, what made me the expert on this, or what made me? But it's your story, though.
It's just
and our stories tend to be so common, believe it or not. We tend to, darn well. I mean, how many people are reading this book? Oh, by the way, this is what the book looks like. I just printed out the paper so you can see it. That's what the book looks like. And there's a lot of people. There we go. Oh, there's the field guide that you talked about.
Yeah. So it goes with it.
Yeah. So you know that there's a ton of people that are going to read this and go, holy shit, this guy's in my head.
Well, I hope so. I really trust so. And I mean, I've seen enough in my short time span, and I haven't coached thousands of people. I've had a really fun career so far. And but it's pretty prevalent. It's definitely something that we're not talking enough about. And I wish I had an interview with Leo Pereira, the CEO of EXP, and I quote him in the book. He's in the back as far as case studies, because he had shared a post as well that he's absolutely ruthless about his family time. And he said, I forget what the time period was, but he's not had dinner with anyone other than his family for a certain period of time. And he goes, I don't care who you are. Like, wow. You get me during business hours. But my family's dinner. I don't care who you flew in with, whatever. Wow. Right. And he's exited some really big companies, and his circle is pretty influential. And he goes, I have dinner with my family. It's a non-negotiable. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I asked him, I said, is there any part of what we talk about in this book, if it were mentioned to you or talked to you about before having gone through what you went through, would it have resonated? And he goes, I would like to say so, but I'm not sure. Right. Like, and so I know that there's sometimes we've got to feel the burn of the stove to pull our hand away, but sometimes the right story said in the right way can resonate or be enough of a warning sign for someone to course correct. Yeah. I hope that someone reading can see themselves in some of these lessons and anecdotes and pull that out and make a different choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's cool. And then, so how's your bicep doing?
Oh, bro, is the bruise is going away?
I still see a little bit of it. No, I saw it when that happened, when you were on. So it was a tour. You tore your bicep, right?
So it's partially torn in two spots, but like it's still connected. So I have range of motion and like which I forget about it until I have to move it a certain way, and then it brings me right to my knees. It's
unbelievable. Just so real quick, my brother tore his bicep completely off. And it actually ended up in the back of his up in his shoulder up here.
Yeah.
And he did it from golfing. He was holding onto the golf cart and went down to pick up the ball, and it just snapped. He said it's the most excruciating pain.
Yes, it's not awesome.
It's not awesome.
would not recommend.
That's pretty good. Well, that's good. I was thinking about tearing my bicep. I'm glad that I talked to you now. So
and my story is not really glamorous either. I mean, I was playing disc golf. I just threw it really hard.
Oh, you must have really threw it hard.
Well, I had an obstacle to my right, and I watched somebody break their hand, hitting their hand off of a tree. And I watched it in a tournament. And so I was like,
Wow.
in my mind, I was like, don't break your hand, bro. So I went to throw and then stop my hand at the same time as I was, and it popped, and it just.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good feeling. So tell me, we finish this up. Thanks for being on the show. For one, I appreciate it. The
My
other
pleasure.
thing is, I want you to tell me, where do we get the book? Where's like all your socials and things like that, so people can find you and get in touch with you.
You can find me anywhere on social media. My Facebook, my Instagram is just matt.lewczenko. And then we have a YouTube channel, the Leveraged Agent Coaching, where
Okay, awesome.
we have a podcast that we do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it's, we do mindset conversations on Monday, workshop Wednesday, where we go over tactics and strategies, and then freestyle Friday, where anyone who jumps in on the call, those calls are 9 to 9:30 Central. Anyone can come on and they can just log in. If you go to the Facebook page and look for Leverage Agent Coaching, you can join that group. It's open to all brands. There's no selling, there's no recruiting on there, period, whatsoever. It's just full value there. Amazon.com for the book. And then I'm doing like a 3-hour masterclass deep dive on the contents of the book on May 28th, I believe. I think that's when we're launching it. And you can go and sign up and register for it at noregretslive.com. So
Awesome.
just noregretslive.com. Fill out the form. There's no other funnel. You're not going to be like, it's just to get registered for the event. 3 hours going deep into the content. And there's some bonuses that we'll be throwing out there as well.
Awesome, man. That's great. So thanks for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
That's awesome. Man. All right. There we go. Matt Lewczenko. He is an author, performance coach, keynote speaker, regional director for EXP, The Entrepreneur's Regret. There's all kinds of great stuff in here. You definitely have to check it out. And check out all of his socials and all the things he's doing. You're going to love him. He's awesome. All right. That's about it. Thanks for being here every Thursday at 7 p.m. All right. We're out.